Hello, everyone. This is Christine Barrere from starfires.com, and I am giving you a quick update on the main points that are coming up in September. I originally recorded this in August 31st, and then posted the article up on Stardrops for the August 31st newsletter. But now we're redoing the audio, and I hope you enjoy this. So listen, everybody is wondering what on earth in the world is going on at this time. People are about to witness how very crazy and discombobulated more and more the earth is, but there's a huge movement of us that regardless of all of the external outer news and information, we're finding our own inner core, and we are moving upwards into a higher light and an ultimate truth. Personally, what my September is going to be like with the upcoming astrology is I'm preparing for an escalation of unusual energies and phenomenon occurring on the planet, whether they are seen or unseen. They influence our moods, our intuition, our sense of things being on the beam or off, right or messed up and interfering. Whatever it is, I'm gearing myself up to overcome certain unexpected, jangled energies and circumstances that might erupt on the planet and move forward with my very clearly defined goals and achievements that I want to make during this month, regardless of what happens. So regardless of whether it affects my mood, my energy, if I feel safe, if I feel uncertainty, whatever is going on, because I feel a lot of you out there are also very sensitive and can sense when things are off. We need to get up in the morning, do our routine, take care of ourselves, take our supplements, make sure that we're on top of our game and get through our day as functionally and positively as we can. So I'm also going to go down to the spiritual level and expecting a greater increase of communion and meditation and focus within my personal life to concentrate on the things that I want to do to connect with the spirit and with my higher self, and listen and allow and accept what its guidance is in spite of my human brain and what it might be feeling. I'm just going to allow perfection to manifest all around me this month. I feel that this game plan would be the ultimate positive use of the upcoming Mercury in Virgo this week, September 1 through 7, leading up to the lunar eclipse on September 7 in Pisces, and then leading up to the solar eclipse in Virgo on September 21. So we are in a Pisces Virgo theme for the next month. This energy is predominantly, understandably, a yellow ray, Virgo, Pisces, Gemini, Sagittarius, yellow cross. That's what we call it. So it's impacting our mind. We're going to be more mentally focused, more mentally analyzing, putting pieces of the puzzle together, processing information. And so it has a mental theme. Out in the world, it's going to be showing up as breakthroughs with facts and data, verification of data, verification of statistics, verification of anything with medical, science, and statistics with population, society, social structures, movement of people, decisions being made that are like all of a sudden like, wow, where did they come up with this analysis, and how did all of a sudden this erupt, these pieces of information that we never knew before. So things that we thought beforehand were not being dealt with, or were being handled shabbily, or just neglect, or all of a sudden are erupting on the world scene. And now we have more than enough information we could ever ask for. This is a mission-oriented September because of the focus on, first of all, the lunar eclipse in Pisces, creates a self-observation, humility with Pisces, Virgo, and the mission, sense of purpose and sense of communion with the highest ideal would be the Pisces moon. So getting it right with one's self and divine source in some ways, like a realignment of what one knows to be or should be a priority, would be a very good thing for all of us. That's what I'm going to be emphasizing. So I'm going to get out some of my favorite books, self-improvement, spiritual, deep books that I love to read, because they always, the minute I get into them, they always take me right to that place of reminding me who I really am and what I'm here for. They sit on my bookshelf for years because I've read them so many times, and there's a lot of them. I rarely go to them because of our busy life. As you all know, these days, everyone's so busy, and they're inside of me that I know what they say, but just to get them off the shelf and review them and reignite that exact flame of how they are said, how they are written, it just does it to me every single time. So whatever works for you, I suggest that this be a positive month of realigning with our higher self and getting that as our top priority. Because Uranus is in a square to these signs of Virgo, Pisces, the Mercury in Virgo, the full moon and the lunar eclipse in Pisces, and the solar eclipse in Virgo, we're going to be having some unexpected things, like something's about to happen on the planet, which disrupts the stabilization of humanity at another level. So obviously we've been going through these mini earthquakes now for 5, 6, 7 years and beyond. But this is like a bigger energy. An earthquake is about to shake up society. So one is arranging all their priorities and getting their ducks in a row during this time. I would count on Uranus's movement into Gemini as of last July 2025, the sign of information and data, to trigger an acceleration and exposure of certain events that are surfacing all of a sudden. So even though it's been in Gemini since July and it's been building with new information, new conversations, new truth transparency, I feel that during this week of September 1 through 7, when Uranus aligns with the lunar eclipse, and then in the 21st, when it aligns in a square to the Virgo, it's a very, very slight square, but it will align. It's more in a trine, I would say, to the Virgo solar eclipse, because the Virgo solar eclipse will be at 29 degrees Virgo, and Uranus will still be at 10 degree Gemini, but rapidly moving backwards, retrograde, to 29 degrees Taurus again for one last round for 3 months. So we could almost say that on the 21st of September, the theme of the Uranus, the awakener, of transformation, acceleration of information and data, facts, witnessing, strategic planning, conversations, any kind of emails, documents, statistics, witnessing, people creating more transparency and objective intellectual observation of all the global crises that are going on in the planet, including the US, everything that's been happening, just pick any of them. Uranus trine the September 21 solar eclipse is positive. A trine is a positive flow of energy that creates, like, it throws the lid off of everything. And now finally we have resolution. Now we see the whole picture, or at least a much more bigger picture. Everything is coming out into the open. Everything is surfacing. So when would we begin to start seeing these things? I would have said probably as of the writing of this report, September 1, Monday, all the way through the 7th, which I believe is Saturday, the full moon lunar eclipse. That is the big first landmark moment. And then from that day forward, it's going to more and more will surface and be discussed and talked about in every different issue that's going on globally until it reaches the 21st. And then on September 21st, there will be a resolution or an acceptance of truth at another level. So the population, gets it. The population, for the majority, accepts it. They understand. There's a unification of acceptance of let's analyze, edit, fix, prioritize, purify, and take this to the next level of how do we fix the flaws, fix the errors, fix the dysfunctions and the sicknesses, and bring our civilization up to a more functional, unified, one level purpose. Okay, so that is what I think is happening. And so therefore you can see why I was thinking, wow, I want to ride the wave of this energy. I really feel I need it. I'm going to be probably fasting once a week and eating very, very high food and getting my carrot, celery, beet juice and green drinks online, and just really take advantage of this purification cycle because of the Virgo Pisces emphasis. So Virgo Pisces has a lot to do with work, employment, upgrading your skills, being sharper, more clear intellectually and mentally as what needs to get fixed, what needs to get fixed up, purified, put in order, more functional, and let's get on with it. The other side of it will be health issues, immune system, purification, fasting, organ purification, and supplements, and all the foods and things that we need nutritionally for our body to feel amazing, and exercise and fresh air. So that is Virgo Pisces also. Then you have the third level, which would be the medical, the sciences, the lab works, the statistics of society and what's the majority of the population doing with this issue, that issue, blah, blah, blah. That would be a Mercury ruled Virgo, because Mercury connects to Virgo, Neptune connects to Pisces. Then Neptune deals with people who are suffering, mental health issues, emotional confusion, all kinds of psychological, emotional states, idealistic longings and aspirations, but are they practical? Are they being manipulated? Are they highest longings and spiritual goals, or are they interfered with and manipulated by other forces? And so we're dealing with the axis of Virgo Pisces, which are all these issues: science, medicine, the workforce, employment, health, water purification, energy, conservative, solar power, or higher sources of energy that could be revelatory on the breakthrough of coming out into the open because of the Uranus in the trine to the September 21, such as free energy, different forms of energy we've never thought about before. All these things are waiting to be talked about and taken to the next level. We all don't have time to go on the back end and to research all these papers that are coming out. I have an email that comes into me once a month that downloads all the latest discoveries and technology and science and medicine and blah, blah, blah. And it's a lot. Like, there's so much that we're not all hearing on the news. But this is just a month of breakthroughs, okay? The first week of it, though, will be the Uranus square, which always creates shocking information. So that's September 1 through 7. Then as that settles, it will mutate into the last week of September, which is acceptance and what else are we missing? What else should we do about this? So that is the September for the gist of it. Of just what needs to be processed, I think, personally and globally. On September 2nd, Mercury moves into Virgo and remains up to September 18. So our minds will become more focused on details, duties, tasks, order, minutiae, and other necessary things which must be attended to in our everyday life. September 1 to 4, Mercury makes several dutiful demands upon us as it makes the following aspects in the sky. On August 31st to September 4, Mercury in Virgo makes an awkward inconjunct to Pluto. And so there might be things that we just feel we have to address, that they're inconveniences. Maybe we just feel a bit off. Maybe we're mentally or health-wise challenged a bit. September 1 through 3, Mercury in Leo going into Virgo in conjuncts Saturn at 29 degrees Pisces. And so this means that there's an adjustment required to accommodate circumstances and incidences which have potential drain on us, or some burdens, or we feel obligated to take on different tasks, or maybe we're just unable to do what we would like to, but we can't pull it off. September 2nd through 5, Mercury in conjunct Neptune at 1 degree Aries, and this is a desire to straighten out any neglect, any disconnects from our responsibilities, or anything we would rather not deal with, but requires facing realistically the issue and getting it just finally out of the way. If any of you are experiencing any mental interference, trouble concentrating, focusing, it could be these Mercury movements going into Virgo, since it is a mental planet in a mental sign. And Virgo, though, has to do with taking our list in our head of things we know we have to do and getting them in the physical and getting them done. Well, all these three inconjuncts are saying, I want to, but this just came up, or I want to, but I don't feel like I have the time, or I'm not with it today. I'm off, or something of that nature. But we just have to push through and not allow Mercury to dominate the Mercury inconjunct dominate the week. Also, from September 1 through 5, Mercury is 0-1 Virgo squares Uranus at 1 degree Gemini. And we talked about this already. A time of unexpected events, news, revelations, global eruptions of information, and it is the impetus for change and shattering the old mindsets. So that could happen globally, it could happen in the US, it could happen personally. So we have to kind of wake up to something we're needing to handle and change in our way and look at it in a different way. So one of the ideas that I had with this square is taking so many different reference books, authors that I've been studying over the years, and deciding to make a short, quick list of the top 3 things that are continually annoying me, that are going on in my personal, physical, functional situation, and then writing the opposite as if it had already been fixed. I am easily, effortlessly enjoying and happy that this and this is now fully functional, operational, or whatever. So you write the negative and then you create an opposite statement, affirmation, repeat it every morning, every night before you go to sleep. Write it out handwritten. Try not to type it. I mean, you can type it, but it's really good to handwrite it because it goes right into the subconscious when you write it naturally. And do the opposite positive affirmation as if it's already been handled. So the subconscious, your energy, you're allowing the higher presence to take command of its divine perfection now. It's already manifest because it's eternal. There's no time, space, past, present, future. It's manifesting now. Let's just do an experiment with this. And then once you cross these off the list, as they become realized and finished, or at least start to get realized, you can go to another one and another one. So this, I'm starting out with all these Mercury ideas because it's leading into the lunar and solar eclipses for September 7 and 21. And it is the planet of mental organization, decisions, lists, and practicality and functionality of our mind, and just stepping up to the plate and getting things done. I feel that the important data focuses upon Virgo at the 0 to 3 degree range, which means a new beginning, because 0, 1, 2, 3 degrees is the baby steps, the early stages of the Mercury ideas and the Mercury plans. So all things related to health, immune system, humanity's biological welfare, geophysical, air, water, land, energy, food, diet, pharmaceutical issues pertaining to these subjects could emerge in the news for review, for deep analysis and conclusions made as to how to move forward for the benefit of our social community. So all these things are going to be laid out on the table and taken apart and examined, including statistics and new data and new revelations and new exposures and all that kind of stuff, because Uranus is the exposure planet, so it's involved in the square, remember? So Mercury in Virgo also targets all levels of service, audits the entire military at every level, including National Guard and all the movements of border and different campaigns going in different countries. So Mercury would arrange and organize efficiency within these areas and make them high focus of concern and speculation during the mid-end of August all the way through September 7, especially September 1 through 7. Because everything is just starting. When Mercury hits 0 degrees Virgo, a new zodiac sign, it's a new beginning. Okay, Mercury at the start of Virgo launches a more bold and public reveal, which will change the course of how things play out globally. We all depend upon being functional and safe in our society, our bodies, our security in order to thrive. There are details which will emerge beginning now, which will require shifts in our view of the world and the operations of certain public figures and the new security that we all need to strive for. These are the 3 inconjuncts and the square to Uranus from Mercury. The 3 inconjuncts from Mercury calculated by 150-degree angle geometrically between Mercury and Neptune, Mercury and Saturn, Mercury in conjunct Pluto, Saturn and Neptune, and also Pluto. What it does is it is like causes scenarios where whatever the facts we thought were reliable in the past, we now begin to have revealed to us information, data, and reports that are reversing misrepresentations of important issues and change the course of action to adjust and fix these serious issues. So it's like an edit and an audit of the news. Look for any past information which was generally accepted to be derailed and brought out and analyzed at this time. But you know what? That also would include us. Like, what misinformation, past information, beliefs and attitudes and mental patterns have we been holding just organically for our whole entire life, and never really questioned, never really examined or objectively looked at, why do I keep thinking this and reinforcing this, even though it's real, even though it happened, and this was the pattern. I need to get this out of my system and my emotions and start replacing it with a new life, a new energy, and a new pattern, and erase and transmute all the old stuff, because I don't want to live in it anymore. It could be continually to perpetuate more and more problems. Mercury's influence has been preparing the world for more disturbing facts to be revealed. It is opposing the full moon in Pisces, coming up on the 7th of September, which perpetually maintains secrecy of the movements of those who have power. These planets are designed to keep the world guessing, while events outside of their control crack open truth and shocking information, disrupting Pisces' negative, hiding, secretive, covert operations. Every point will be examined and scrutinized. It will be accurate, concise, detailed. It will be verifiable. Somehow, all of the events that are happening and more over the next week or two are somehow indirectly related or orchestrated to happen at the same time. I don't know if any actual person in power is doing that on purpose, or if it's the energy of the astrologies coordinating it, and it's all erupting at the same time. But this is a lot of information, and I would like to add to it the AI Atlas comet coming, and all the jarring information surrounding that. So October 2nd through the 24th, after all this, September is just exploding with all this newness. There will be an escalation of news regarding space anomalies and conclusive evidence of the AI axis that's not a comet, probably, that's what they're saying, will be disturbing to most people. Bizarre information in regards to its polygonal shapes around its periphery, the enormous speed it is sailing on our ecliptic towards the sun. I heard 130,000 miles an hour. And the carbon dioxide signature it's emanating, estimating 29 miles long, the size of a city. And it's all of its anomalies. Especially, there was one report a few weeks ago that scientists were confused how it slightly changed its course and sped up. And I think Oumuamua, whatever that comet was, forgive my mispronunciation, also did the same thing. It was odd. I think that it sped up in its traveling. But then some astronomers say, well, that happens as it gets closer to the sun, as it's pulling it towards our sun. I suspect the solar eclipse will be the moment that information has settled in and we are off to a new awareness, rearranging our thinking from September 21st on. And all of these anomalies that are going on with the comet and space and new discoveries, such as there was some quick report, please forgive me, I just skimmed through it, that a particle actually, instead of moving forward rapidly, actually went back, and they were questioning whether there is time and space is real, because it moved back in time instead of forward. It was really interesting. So all these new things are coming out, and we'll have to wait and see past October and the AI axis journey around the sun, whether it will even maintain its orbit or suddenly change its estimated direction and head off in a more challenging direction in our solar system. There are those who are already concerned this might happen, since it has been altering its behavior, speed, and emanation through its journey already. So these are the things that are on my mind. If you want to read the whole thoughts of my brain regarding this September in detail, get on starfires.com, and it's the very top article. In the section of articles, just scroll down halfway through the front page and you'll start seeing all the articles line up, and it is the first one at the top. I'm not going to go through all of my notes here, but what I'm feeling is that with the solar eclipse theme coming up on the 21st, which I would make that our actual destination we're working towards, like get all our ducks in a row, feel like we're already on a healthy momentum, we're embracing new information in the news and not letting it detract from our own personal alignment and focus of what we want to achieve. That solar eclipse, I believe September 21 is our direction. It's our target right now, to get to that and experience a restart, a new beginning in functionality and progress, with being very practical and functional and realistic about how we can improve our life and start working on making positive decisions for our future. And we go through these cyclically. You'll hear me talk about it a lot, especially during new moons and planetary aspects like that. It'll be like a new breakthrough, a new start, a new beginning. A lot of times I will write them and then forget about it, and then when the date comes, I will actually be doing it and I'll go, my God, it's actually working. I do that a lot. This really works. I've been doing it for 35, 40 years. Like, how is this so accurate? So I just really quickly, one last thing I want to say is there's 3 oppositions in the solar eclipse on September 21. Sun opposed Neptune, Sun opposed Saturn, and Moon opposed Neptune, Saturn. So the sun opposing Neptune and Saturn could instigate, initiate, or trigger fear, uncertainty. And I would look at it this way, and this is either within ourselves or people around us or challenging situations. We need to face it and go, okay, what do I need to do to reach the ideal blueprint and bring it into the physical for this particular situation and stay out of fear, stay out of anxiety, stay out of disappointment, blame, projecting blame, discouragement, disappointment, frustration, depression. Those are all Neptune negative energies. Okay, so Neptune is going to be opposing the sun in the solar eclipse on September 21. And just for a couple weeks, it could create that theme. We want the positive. We want functionality and Virgo practicality and analyzing our situation and getting super, super tight in order with everything. And also, it could demand clarity and honesty in regards to someone in our life or our desires that we try to achieve, and how do we get there? Facing facts about what the next steps are in our personal journey. What we know deep inside we must create and handle, accomplish, and achieve. And I always tell myself, I am achieving these things. I am experiencing these things. I am manifesting these things. The I am in me is accomplishing these things in its perfect order. And then I always let myself know, in free of time and space, it's happening already, and I need to be patient. The moon is opposing Neptune and Saturn, which creates domestic concerns, some emotional uneasiness as one wonders if they have done everything correctly, have concerns for others' welfare, such as child, a family member, or any kind of dysfunction that's going on, whether it's physical, like I'm thinking about stuff I need to do for my house. Other people might be thinking of a family member who needs help. Whatever it is, it's like, let's not get caught up in the Neptune-Saturn overwhelm, which is thinking like, I don't know if I can trust how this is going to get handled. This is not a good situation. I'm worried about so-and-so. But think of Neptune and Saturn at this time that are merged together as a blueprint of bringing down the ideal in order to replace the old outworn. Okay? So we're all going through that. We all started going through this June and July. And I wrote a lot about this last January, February, March, April, May. I believe I wrote it again in June. And maybe that needs its whole recording, a whole video. Saturn, Neptune is amazing when it's conjoined. It's called the conjunction of the architect. And Neptune brings down the divine blueprint of what should be, and Saturn crystallizes it. But in this case, because it's opposing the sun and the moon in the solar eclipse, what it's telling me is that it's magnified the things that we don't want. That it's like what's dysfunctional is being magnified to address it, like an editor coming into your content or your work or your house or your business and editing and auditing the business and saying, okay, here are all the things that I'm finding wrong. That would be Virgo. The Neptune and Saturn on the other side would say, here's the game plan. This might overwhelm you. You might freak out and say, this is so messed up. I'll never be able to afford this. But you need to trust it. You need to just say, I don't know how this is going to happen, but people have done greater things with less resources. Why can't I do it too? So that's where you shift into the higher affirmations, as if living in the future like it's already happened, and write them out, say them out loud dozens of times a day. I'm not kidding. Everybody that is into neuroplasticity agrees it changes your brain, which changes your outer circumstances. And just like in the old I Am books, when Godfrey Ray King and Saint Germain, and they were all discussing the magic presence, the magic I Am presence, they kept reiterating over and over again, don't try to figure out how it's happening. Don't try to analyze how is this going to happen, what are the steps. That is not your concern. And I can attest to that. My entire life, when I use this, it works. If I don't use it, my poor little brain cannot always figure out all the steps. But because I have a very strong Mercury in my chart, it thinks it can. And so it tries to override the process, and I have to get it out of the way and allow the magical presence to take over. I know it sounds very childlike, childish, innocent, and naive, but I'm telling you, it works if you just move into this. So that's what I feel our September is going to be. And we need to get this out of the way before we get into October. So the 3 things I'm ending with is this all demands greater trust in the divine, while a step up of potential military movements escalate around the globe. So it's like global escalation of crazy things, some positive. Prepare, plan, and stay practical. B, greater purification and our attention put upon our higher materials to read, study, focus, and contemplate. That includes music and diet and food and sun and exercise in a higher retreat-like experience. Try to do it at least 1 weekend for yourself this month. Our emotions need a recharge of the divine to get out in nature, get into the wilderness or the ocean or the water, take a trip, and C, diet, purification, supplements, increasing one's body strength, immune system, heal, and address body issues now. So those are the 3 things. Let's get those in motion. And then to finalize, Jupiter, our magnificent, magnifying planet of good fortune, is making a beautiful aspect to the node. During the first 2 weeks of September, the social networking, discussing world patterns, social friendships, and feeling like we're all on the same page together is going to get magnified. All of that's really good. All of it's going to explode in more positive communication. And also finances should be steadily increasing and secure. Our social life and friendships free from stress. That's the blessing of the Jupiter and the node. So that's all for today. I will have another video up, discuss other planetary movements, but let's just keep it simple for this month. And this is the big deal. And have a beautiful September. I wish you all well, and thank you for listening.